Lands in somebody's hair. Oh wow, and that's the big bird. It's important in the car communication.
Roger.
And I hear 140.
140.
Trying to summon the car forward just a smidge. Here comes Dawn and Ruby. I see a newspaper and a cup of coffee in your future. Yes, baby. I have a little extra help. It's kind of like having a full service EV station. We ate too much. It's all her fault and we're gonna walk it off. I'm out here planting my flowers. Our table when there's important Pokemon Go trading going on. It's Dawn's full service EV station again. The bluebird box over there on the right side of the house. This is one of the pots. Is very pleased to get some special attention from John.
Good morning.
These guys are working with him a little bit on that.
We're on plant duty. Good for Mature. She's bouncy, baby. Woo!
Wasn't exactly the ride I had in mind.
Happy birthday to you. Celebration time, no test.
So I could get a picture of Ruby in front of the mural. Happens in the pawn shop kind of stays in the pawn shop.
There's the girl. There she.
Congratulations, buddy. We're proud of you.
Thank you, Mom.
Oh yeah, I sure can.
Works really well.
Today is the right day for Pokemon Go community. Mission accomplished, right? Hi, Mittens. That didn't take you too long. Larger. Ruby parallel parked into this spot. A good EV conversation here with Kyle. This has been great.
Just, you know, I like this reading the paper later.
Now look.
Oh my.
Faith in English. Oh,
Oh, there's a Tesla.
it's a P100D, you got it.
Well, this picture right here pretty much sums up my morning. The box the new cardboard toy came in. Thanks, buddy. That's great, bud. Maple View ice cream. Just a cookie cocktail. I see my cookie. How many fish did you catch?
3.
Oh, not bad.
Started pouring. I came to get him. He said he'll finish. Yeah, this is the kind of day, the kind of Sunday we're having here today. High nighttime. See, here's another napper. You can't see them now, but there are a couple of deer just on the other side of that big Carolina allspice shrub. They're kind of down in the creek bed. It's dry now that we haven't had a lot of rain, and they're munching on vegetation. Thankfully, what's over there isn't something I've planted personally. Panther's taking it easy this morning too. Aww. Now you would not want to pet Panther's tummy. That wouldn't work out too well. Don's bringing Ruby out of the garage. I'll explain where we're going in a minute. The hawks are out here. Of course, I started filming and they got quiet, but they were carrying on. You'll have to check out the nest as we go down the driveway. Wow, that was pretty smooth, Donnie.
What's that?
Got my door open. As Don and I came down the driveway, I did see one of the juveniles in a tree. I stopped, got out, tried to sight him, couldn't see him again. Then walked around some more, moved the car a little bit, saw him a second time, then lost track of where he was. And I wasn't able to get a picture, which is sort of annoying. But he's out there, he's close, he's within 40 feet on one of those tree limbs, and Mama was over here a few minutes ago to see him, so I think they've all left the nest now, and they're, you know, hanging out in the trees close to the nest while the parents take care of them until they're ready to fly away a little farther. So the main reason Don and I are taking a Sunday afternoon drive in Ruby is that I suggested we listen to the Ryan McAfee Ride the Lightning Elon Musk interview in the car, because I pay attention better when there's no pictures when we're driving, and it just seemed like a fun thing to do. And we're gonna stop. There was a bird's nest I saw yesterday over by Jordan's Lake. A guy there with a tripod. I was, you know, basically salivating, wanting to get out and take a picture, but I didn't have my tripod or my 600mm lens. And, you know, Don's with me sort of for safety while I get out and go take that picture. And then we need a couple things from the grocery store, probably Walmart. I'm thinking trying a different Walmart yet again, looking for Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. Julio has reinvigorated my interest to keep on looking. So what did Elon just say? It seemed kind of important.
Yeah, we don't think about it, but he's just said that the average car lasts 15 years in the U.S., 20 years outside of the U.S. So if every car sold this year was electric, it would still take approximately 15 years to replace all the cars on the road with electric cars. And of course, he said we are a long way. There's a lot of opportunity, he said, for electric cars. But that's how big the problem is. We've got to replace, if we're going to replace and get rid of internal combustion engine cars, it's at least a 15-year, and that's if you sell every car is electric. So it is true that we can achieve 50% of all new car sales are electric by 2025 or 2030, depending on which source you want to listen to. But even at 50%, you know, you're talking, that's a 30-year. So, you know, 2050, we might have all electric cars. Now, there's obviously things that will affect that, and I'm sure that he knows that far better than I do. But it does kind of level set you
on the problem.
On the problem at hand. And really, it's that same problem applies to energy, of sustainable energy in general. As I've said before, that I always was focused on, well, if we just clean up the grid, then we solve climate change. But that's not true. If you went to 100% renewables on the grid, you haven't solved, you know, process heat. How many people of our viewers have gas heat in their homes? All these types of other heats, they're still CO2 emitters. That you could fix the energy grid, and that doesn't fix climate change. You still have a lot of CO2. That only transportation accounts up. The number seems like 15% of the CO2 is transportation. Well, what about the other 85%? So we've got there's
our work is cut out for us.
And again, this is part of the reason why I've reconsidered my position on nuclear energy. I'm now very pro-nuclear, and because of the size of the problem. Renewables are great. I'm not saying don't do renewables, but I'm also saying just don't sit at home and deceive yourself. Don't be naive and think, oh, well, we'll just put solar panels and wind turbines and all this stuff, and we're going to solve climate change. It ain't going to be enough, folks. Not even close.
In every Elon Musk interview, we have to mention plaid at least once. At least once, yeah. Standing here on the Oak Creek Bridge. It's loud. This is Highway 751, just north of Highway 64. Don's down there with Ruby in the gravel pullover spot. This is a major road out here by Jordan Lake. I believe this nest that I stopped to take a picture of is an osprey. And I have no clue if that's one of the parents or one of the juveniles. I'm not that educated on osprey. He is giving me some good video and some good photo coverage, however. It's a little late in the year for the large bird not to have hatched eggs, I would think, but I'm not sure. Like I said, Busy road, but very wide bridge, so I feel safe over here. It's just loud. Just filming the Osprey.
Well, that's why I'm
Yeah.
got my camera on my bag there.
I saw someone here yesterday.
Probably me.
Really long lens, even longer than this one?
No.
No? Okay.
I got my 400. That's what I carry on that one anyway. I've got
Sure.
a 500, but I don't
Okay.
use it. I don't carry it around on my bike.
So, adult with eggs underneath, juvenile waiting for a parent to come back?
That is an adult. A lot of times you'll see the male perched on
Okay.
a tree, but he's not. I don't see him anywhere, so he may be out trying to get a fish.
Sure. So their eggs have not hatched yet?
I believe I'm almost 100% sure they have. You just can't see the little ones yet.
Okay. It was hot out there in the sun. I knew it would be. That's nature photography is not easy on the photographer pretty much ever. So a nice guy in a motorcycle pulled up, very knowledgeable about the birding at Jordan Lake. And you know, I know a little bit. There's some people that know a lot. And he said the osprey in that nest, that's the female. He says sometimes you can see the male in a close by tree, but he didn't see him today. He's probably out hunting. Says the babies have most assuredly hatched, but they're too tiny to see them yet in the nest. So probably stopping back in a week or so, the babies will be bigger, would be worth it. He pointed out a juvenile bald eagle flying overhead, which I did get a picture, not a good picture, but a picture of. I actually saw the bald eagle nest when we were driving back over the bridge. He said it was behind the osprey nest in the distance, and he's right, and there were several eagles on the nest. At least I got to see it with my eye, even if I didn't get a picture. Maybe another day. I'm wore out today. And I don't know, it was fun, even though it was really hot. Quote, "We developed sonar that can go through metal. Even the military doesn't have that." I assume he's talking about the sensors that detect whether there's a person on the other side of the falcon wing door. That was really cute. He's talking about my doors, not just the falcon wing ones. My self-presenting door. He's talking about it. Gosh darn it, you were supposed to ask him why we can't put those on the S or another car as an option. Why, Elon, can't we? Ryan, why aren't you asking him?
That's the yeah.
Oh,
This is
missed opportunity.
Elon said it, that people who drive an X for a while, then they get back in some other car, and
Even
they're
a Tesla.
Yes, right, and they stare at the door because it doesn't close. And it's because you get so addicted to that you just can't. If you haven't lived with an X, I know people out there say we are absolutely nuts, must be insane.
But you drive it for a while. Yeah.
Whatever you want to call, I got it. I hear what you're saying, but it's like going. How would you live without, like color TV? Would you go back to black and white? You just can't. It's just that vibrance, that woof, that difference, is there. And I'm just telling you, he really, even in the autonomous future, having the doors to be able to open and close themselves is a viable thing. There should be no Tesla built that does not have the option of having self-presenting doors. I get the door handles fold out, pop out, hockey sticks, all that's great. You can keep all that, but still, the doors should open and close by themselves. If that's what I want, you can still do all this stuff. I just don't get why he isn't running with the ball. Nobody else has got that feature. Everybody who owns an X, well, I'm sure there's some people who've got their leg caught or something. I get that. But really, if you're anywhere conscious of what's going on, you get used to it. And I swear I cannot tell you how many cars I've got in. I look at the door. Well, I have to reach all the way over there and close the door. I just can't believe it.
So he gets it. I just need him to say why he won't make it available on other Tesla models for a good fee, because some of us really want it. I remember Don and I have, do we need to pay extra for the premium interior?
Well,
do we really need self-presenting doors? You know, we probably don't need that. Wrong. You'd have been wrong, Donnie. You'd have been wrong.
Well, it was actually like convenience features, and one of the things was self-presenting doors, and the other one was the HEPA filter, the bio defense
then
mode.
that's come in handy. I can't tell you how I never smell odor inside the X from outside ever.
But we totally shot the $5,000 for the bio, to get the bio defense mode. That was what was driving the purchase decision of getting that. They didn't have the it didn't click when the test drive.
So we got to turn right here.
Yep.
We are in Chapel Hill. I've never been to the Walmart in Chapel Hill. We're gonna see what the Walmart in Chapel Hill is like. They better have some sort of a Tesla in there. We missed a turn and we found a house. That's beautiful, just gorgeous. Just so you know, the GPS coordinates on Google Maps, on Google, not Ruby, but just Google, it's wrong for this Walmart, okay? So don't try to go to the Walmart in Chapel Hill, or maybe the Walmart in Carborough would have worked better. But I called over there and they told us exactly how to get there. This person like had a photographic memory of downtown Chapel Hill. She was so knowledgeable. So we should be there in a minute, but don't plug in Walmart Chapel Hill into the GPS. Trust me. Finally, you should have seen me and Dawn going in a circle trying to follow on my phone and in Ruby the same wrong GPS coordinates. And as you can see, it really doesn't know Walmart's here. And it's not new. This store has a lot of Hot Wheels, and we've pretty much been through all of them. Not one Tesla and over 1,000 Hot Wheels.
I don't think I have the grit and determination. I think after searching through that and coming up bust, I've lost all interest.
Yeah, thankfully Johnny and I are a little more persistent and determined. Way in we saw a black Model 3. On the way out we see a white Model 3. So at the Walmart in Chapel Hill you see Model 3s. So Ruby here underneath the camera by the pole at the back of the lot, and they're LED. Don says we're behind an I-Pace. I can't quite read it, but I think that's what it says.
Oh,
Don's sure, so that's good enough for me. Well, that would be the first one I have seen not at the Jaguar dealership. That's great. Elon said he doesn't feel there are enough Teslas out there right now to make sense to open up the MCU to other app developers to make apps for the car. No Tesla app store, so to speak. And he also noted that he's interested in things that make the driving experience more fun. And I can sort of see his point in thinking that we don't want to clutter the car up with a bunch of potential apps from, you know, that just are just people trying to sell stuff or peddle their stuff that's not really enhancing the driving experience. So I get that, because, you know, a few times Don has said that he'd really like it if they opened it up.
Yeah, there's things that I think that an app that talks to the car, I wasn't looking at it from the entertainment point of view, but just you know, it took them a really long time to do the intermittent wipers and stuff like that. You know, there are things that people could have probably
helped with. But when you think about it, there's a whole published API, and the Stats app and Teslafy and some other third-party apps are actually making good use of that and doing stuff with the cars. So it's not a totally closed environment. And Elon also said no to Spotify. Now, I don't care about Spotify, but apparently a lot of people do. He said bigger fish to fry, and Bluetooth it off your phone for now. Maybe someday, wouldn't rule it out, but it's not happening anytime soon. I do hear a lot of people want Spotify in the car. I'm just not one of them, I guess. Right. So this is New Hope Valley Railroad over here in Bonsall. We're by here quite a bit, but not always coming exactly past the trains. When the boys were little, we got on the train over here a couple times. It goes out a short ways and then reverses and comes back, and they do a lot of train restoration there, so they do some really great stuff in preserving history. I know that Ryan asked people to help him come up with what to ask Elon, and it's sort of one of those things like until you're listening to the Elon interview, you really couldn't come up with what it was you wanted to ask. So my question... Don said he'd be willing to get up at 3 in the morning, or, you know, even miss going to bed if Elon would be willing to talk with him in person. I think Don would break all of his rules about nap time, eating, sleeping. I mean, when Elon Musk says he's got 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour for you, you jump. Like where, how high?
Ryan was very appreciative of Elon and very thankful.
Yep.
And he was very humble. So I would say that, I would hope I would be the same way if I ever had the opportunity. But I don't think I could have. I'd have been so tongue-tied, nervous. I don't know that I could have made an intelligent conversation with Elon.
Oh, you're selling yourself short there. But Ryan did good. He did good. It was a very enjoyable hour podcast today.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Ryan did a wonderful job. I don't know that I could have done it, but I guess there's 3 questions that I wish Ryan would have asked. One of them is, when and how important, how do you see the Maxwell acquisition playing out? What's the, I mean, obviously he's got an end in mind. What's your end in mind for Maxwell being incorporated? The other thing, the solar panel, roof, solar tiles. What's really, when is that? You know, because he did mention that they gave up on the Powerwall production because of the battery constraints, so they sort of had to juggle things, and you know, that really, the battery constraints has really slowed down some of their ideas. So what about the solar tiles? What's really going on there? And then last but not least, and this was one of those questions, this is one I was trying to think of a while ago, and Marianne, she remembered it. And I wouldn't want to put him on the defensive, Elon on the defensive, but I would like to understand what he thinks about the right to repair. And is that going to happen? Is Tesla really going to publish some type of, release the diagnostic software, or make it available for purchase, or something, so that third parties and or individuals can maintain their Teslas? I get it. Tesla doesn't really like this concept of reusing the batteries and stuff like that, but they're such a valuable resource, and there's so wonderful technology that it just pains me to think that the second use for Tesla batteries, especially in these wrecked cars, that there's not some viable thing. If Tesla was buying the batteries back and doing something like Nissan, you see Nissan and BMW talk about their second use battery policy all the time. If Tesla was out talking what their second use battery policy is I would be, maybe it wouldn't be so important. But you know, at this point, the Teslas are wrecked, and I guess Tesla expects them to be junked and crushed, and batteries included. So, you know, that's totally a wrong. So I would, you know, if you're not going to do something yourself, you should not be roadblocking other people. You should be trying to help for the second use of the batteries and any other the technology and the right to repair your car. That's actually my hot button issue.
It was a frustrating stop at the Smithfield's drive-thru.
It was fine. No, it was good. We got plenty of chicken and barbecue.
It just took a couple of minutes of us cooling our heels in the Tesla for them to get fresh hot chicken out of the fryer.
Burned my fingers.
Yes.